George Maziarz. I'm a former New York State Senator. I was in the State Senate for 20 years. I sponsored legislation actually back in the day to allow Western Region OTB to be the first and only, at the time, off-track betting organization to actually buy the Batavia Downs casino. I'm sorry, the Batavia Downs racetrack. And then later on, I think it was maybe in the 2005 time period, I remember the legislation came out, harness racing was dying in the state of New York at the time. I think it probably hasn't recovered very much. I think the management of Batavia Downs doesn't want our message to get out today. But anyway, I remember when the legislation was proposed to give harness tracks casinos in New York State. And I think in the original legislation it was like 5 harness tracks mentioned. Batavia was not one of the 5. And I remember going into then Senate Majority Leader Joe Bruno's office, just livid at the fact that Batavia Downs was not included in the VLT legislation, as we called it back then. And arguing with the Senate Majority Leader, with Governor Pataki's counsel, and Governor Pataki himself, and fighting very hard to get Batavia included. I did that, because, I wanted Western Region OTB to succeed. They had great leadership under former executives like Marty Bassinet and Mike Kane at the time. I didn't do that so that board members, their children, their grandchildren can go to hockey games, sit in luxury box seats at a cost of thousands of dollars to the taxpayers of Genesee County and the other 14 counties and 2 cities that make up the board of OTB. Approximately 6 weeks ago, in no less a publication than the New York Times. The New York Times. I think you've probably all heard of the New York Times, right? The New York Times, in their New York Review section, had a very lengthy article. It was titled, "A Study in American Kleptocracy." A Study in American Kleptocracy. It was published on April the 6th. Kleptocracy, I assume, is a combination of the words kleptomaniac and democracy. In this article, this is an article in the New York Times, pointed out how corrupt Western Region OTB is, and how much of the taxpayers' money, taxpayers of Genesee County's money, is being used for private purposes, which is a violation of the law in the state of New York. They referenced a member of the board, a sitting member of the board, a sitting member of the board who said that he was so appalled by the corruption by the executives at OTB and by the other board members that he called the FBI. He reported them to the FBI. We've all heard that there is an investigation going on by the United States Attorney's Office, by the FBI. There was also an audit by the New York State Controller, Tom DiNapoli. Controller DiNapoli's audit came out approximately 8 months ago. In that audit, which is in your press package, or I'm sure you've all seen it, it's available, Controller DiNapoli issued a report where he criticized the use of these sports tickets. I'm going to talk about 2 different areas, sports tickets and health insurance. The sports tickets that he identified, at least $120,000 were being used for private purposes, for family members and friends of board of directors and of executives at OTB. He referenced one particular board member who used, I believe the figure he mentioned was 11 tickets. 11 tickets. He referenced a board member who used 11 tickets. Now those tickets are approximately, the value of those would be about $3,000. That board member, ironically, was Dick Siebert, the Genesee County board member. He doesn't identify him in the audit, but the former Chief Operating Officer, Mike Nolan, identified him and actually gave an email that Siebert had sent to him demanding these tickets. Nolan has turned that over to the FBI and to the Attorney General's office. One OTB executive had his daughter's birthday party in a Sabre suite, again at a cost of thousands of dollars to the taxpayers of the 15 counties, including Genesee County. The health insurance. As far back as 2007, the Attorney General of the state of New York at that time informed OTBs that they were not to give health insurance to the board members. The board members, and I think you probably all attend these board meetings, they last between 45 and maybe an hour and a half at the most. For that, the board members get paid. Plus, they get the best health insurance plan you can possibly buy, and the most expensive plan you can possibly buy in the United States of America. And if they're on the board long enough, they get it for life, and then their spouse gets it for the rest of their life. Again, at a cost of thousands of dollars. The Attorney General, and I'll get into my lawsuit in a minute, the Attorney General said it's wrong. OTB in 2019 hired their own law firm, paid them thousands of dollars to come up with an opinion on health insurance. I believe in your press package you have that determination. It's a 6-page memorandum by Damon Barker, very good law firm out of Rochester. That law firm determined that it was illegal, improper, and possibly criminal for the board members to continue to get it. That was in 2019. In the controller's audit, the controller wrote a letter to the Taxpayer Protection Bureau, the criminal division of the New York State Attorney General's office. And he said, and I quote, you have this letter, as we have discussed with members of your staff, the Western Region OTB has continued to provide health insurance benefits to its board members. Despite clear admonitions from our office that this practice is impermissible, in concurrence with an opinion from your office unambiguously stating the same, that they cannot get this health insurance. That was written 8 months ago. They're still getting it. The Genesee County representative, Dick Siebert, told one of the local Batavia newspapers here, well, we've addressed that by not allowing any future board members to get health insurance paid for. That's an insult to the taxpayers of Genesee County. What you're saying is, we got caught with our hand in a cookie jar. We got caught misusing taxpayer dollars. We're going to stop anybody else in the future from doing it, but we're going to continue to do it. Dick Siebert owes the taxpayers of Genesee County hundreds of thousands of dollars that he has improperly and illegally, according to their own attorney, received, according to the New York State Controller and according to the New York State Attorney General. The Attorney General, back in 2007, I mentioned to you, maybe 2008, 9, in that time period, the Attorney General found out that public benefit corporations like the New York Power Authority and the New York Thruway Authority were paying their board members health insurance. The Attorney General wrote him a letter and said, you are to cease immediately. And not only are you stopping it, but the members of the board that receive this health insurance have to pay it back. And if they don't pay it back, I'm going to charge them criminally. The checks came in real fast. When that article was published in the New York Times 6 weeks ago, I was contacted by an organization called Advocates for Justice. They're what's normally termed a good government group. They're out to fight public corruption, identify public corruption, and fight it. They're a group of attorneys that do pro bono work to fight corruption in New York State. They contacted me. They had seen the article in the New York Times. They looked up some of the previous articles. They certainly examined the audits that the state controller did. And they determined, in their opinion, the opinion of their chairman, Arthur Schwartz, that Western Region OTB, headquartered in Batavia, New York, is probably the most corrupt public benefit corporation in the state of New York, sort of following on what the New York Times was saying. And they offered to represent me in filing a lawsuit against the executives at Off Track Betting and the board members. Two things. We're asking the court to immediately stop them from utilizing taxpayer-funded tickets to Bill's Suites and Sabre Suites for their family and their friends. And secondarily, that they immediately cease getting health insurance, and that they reimburse the taxpayers for the health insurance that they have improperly received and the tickets that they have improperly received. So that's our lawsuit. We filed it in Erie County because that's the largest population of all the counties. There's many Supreme Court judges there this can be assigned to. We look forward to arguing it. We look forward to public depositions where the press is invited to the depositions. Quite frankly, I'm disappointed that the Attorney General, that the United States Attorney, the FBI hasn't done anything yet. I keep being told over and over again that they're working on it. I know that Mr. Nolan is cooperating with them. Mr. Nolan, I'm sure, would talk to any of you about the corruption. If you read the New York Times article, you'll get the name of the board member who, in the New York Times, said, I called the FBI because of the level of corruption that I saw at Western Region OTB. When you see board members getting the most expensive health insurance plan that you can buy in the United States of America, and getting it for life, and getting it illegally and improperly, and then they tell the employees at Batavia Downs, the people who work here every day, that they have to limit their health insurance coverage, that they have to contribute more of their hard-earned salaries to pay for their health insurance, when the board members contribute zero, nothing, for attending one board meeting, maybe an hour a month. I am going to, on my own initiative, I am going to take a copy of that New York Times article, which I wish you would all read. It's very informative. And I am going to send it to every county legislator in the 15 counties. I think there's a lot of county legislators out there, elected officials, that don't know how their taxpayers' money is being so abused by Western Region OTB. I'm going to send it to the 15 district attorneys within the 15 counties. I mean, I referenced an article that was in the Buffalo News, I think maybe 6 weeks ago, where the district attorney of Erie County arrested 3 highway department employees in the Erie County Department of Highways for illegally using state inspection stickers on their own personal cars. They took inspection stickers that belong to the county, and apparently the county has authorization to do this, and put them on county-owned vehicles. They put them on their own cars. The total cost of their theft, 3 or 4 individuals, was $550. Those people lost their jobs, they lost their health insurance, and they lost their pensions. It was wrong. It was wrong. The DA was right to prosecute. They were stealing taxpayers' money. And yet you've got the controller of the state of New York coming out and saying $120,000 at least. Mike Nolan says it is 10 times that amount of money that the board of directors and the executives at OTB use for their own personal, private purposes, and nothing from any district attorney. I'm sending them a copy of the article, and I filed a lawsuit. I'll open up for questions. Talk about it.
Yes.